Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome everyone into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. Everyone, I hope you're having a fantastic day. And of course, we have to say happy Valentine's Day. I hope everyone out there has something special planned. And, if you happen to have that loved one in your life, you do something special with them today. Now, everyone, computeramerica.com, that's where you'll find everything, including the show notes. We have a lot of articles, just everything that you need to know about the program, you can find right there on our website, including past shows, podcasts, social media links, all that and more. Let's see. So find us on social media, all that good stuff. Everyone, I hope that you are ready for today's program because we have a fun lineup of stories. Everything from, news that you should know about to at the end, we're going to have some fun stories, but all in all, important updates. You should definitely check those out. So everyone, let's go ahead and get started with computer and technology news. Okay, so our first story that we're going to do is, Bowser. No, not the giant dragon turtle. I think it's a dragon turtle, something like that. Anyways, not that kind of Bowser, nor is it the Bowser that happens to be the president of Nintendo North America. Fun fact. No, it's another Bowser that is related to Nintendo. We covered this a couple of weeks ago where, get this, a gentleman with the last name of Bowser actually was in charge of a team called Team Xecuter, and they purposely sold hardware and ROMs to people to hack their Nintendo consoles to play third-party ROMs and rips of games so that you could play, let's say, the latest Nintendo game on Nintendo hardware without having to pay Nintendo for the game. Pirating, hacking, all in one. And, supposedly he claimed that he was doing this to troubleshoot that it should never, ever, ever be used for malicious purposes. Of course, they gave you explicit instructions on how to commit those, those corrupted purposes, but still, they did it. So the update to this was that he was on trial, and now he's received a sentencing, and he was sentenced to 40 months, 3 years, 4 months for doing this. And it falls dead in the middle between the 60 months that was sought by prosecutors and the 19 months sought by Bowser's defense. You kind of messed up when your own defense is like, hey, what would be fun? 20 months, please. So Bowser had already served 16 months, had served 16 months of pre-sentencing detention after being arrested in the Dominican Republic and deported to the U.S. in 2020. Now, they said that this would send a message that there are consequences for participating in sustained efforts to undermine the video game industry. And of all the companies to really go, to really try to subvert, I would say that Nintendo might be one of the dumbest ones because they are very, very aggressive when it comes to protecting their IP and protecting their hardware and all that kind of thing. So obviously Nintendo also seemed happy to lean into the send a message idea, saying that the company appreciates the hard work of law enforcement in handling this. So of course they mentioned that this, like the amount of ROMs that they sold, and this could come into some kind of gray area for people because they said that they distributed about $400 million worth of illegal ROMs. Now that's assuming every time a ROM was downloaded, Nintendo missed out on $20 to $40 to $60 a game. obviously if something is free, you're not going to, you're not going to have the conversation in your head, is this kind of worth it? No, you're just going to get it. So obviously more people would download the illegal version, the free version, versus, paying for it. But still, that was a lot of money that, he allegedly agreed to pay about $4.5 million in criminal penalties, as well as $10 million in a civil suit, which is what I think Bowser claimed to have made an estimated $320,000 over 7 years for his work with the team, and that despite the tens of millions of dollars in device sales that contributed to the 65 to 150 million in copyright infringement, odds are he didn't make any money. In fact, he will probably be financially ruined for this for at least the foreseeable future. If Nintendo hopes to see anything, any of that $10 million, best of luck. And that $4.5 million, I'm sure, will hang over Bowser's head for quite some time. So there's the update. 40 months in prison, $10 million in a civil suit with $4.5 million in a criminal suit. And man, currently hoping that, they get the rest of these guys, because it's just two other members of Team Xecuter who were indicted alongside Bowser have yet to face trial. They mentioned that one is currently in France fighting an extradition request to the U.S. government, while the other, who resides in Shenzhen, China, has not yet been apprehended. And odds are, the one in France, there's a chance that he's going to, face repercussions for this. But the one in China, the fact that he hasn't even been arrested yet, leads me to believe, that one's not going anywhere. So, and by the way, deportation back to Dominican Republic. I think he's actually from the United States, Rover, and he was extradited to the United States to face trial, and he was hiding out in the Dominican Republic because he was hoping to, be outside the jurisdiction of the United States where he was doing most of his business. So I think he's a U.S. citizen. I believe so. But Gary Bowser, that sounds like a U.S. citizen. Let's go with that. Doubt he's being deported anytime soon back to the place where he fled to hide from law enforcement. But there you go. Story number 1. Bowser in trouble with Nintendo. Who knew? Story number 1. Story number 2. If you use Snapchat, Snapchat's been doing fairly well as far as new social media, and I use new in quotes. As an underdog in social media, they have had pretty good earnings. They've had pretty good new person retention, user growth, all that kind of stuff. They've reached a lot of metrics that they were looking for. Well, looks like they're reaching even higher in a new beta test where they have these things called stories. You can take photos or videos, post them to your individual story, and people can, flip through your day, your story. They usually last about 24 hours. And well, now you might want to pay attention because there are some ads in there. There's some ads between stories if you were really that interested. Now here's the part where I'm thinking they're hoping this kind of works out for people, is that any ads shown within the story, well, they're going to share that ad revenue with the person who created that story. A little bit of revenue sharing. There are still a lot of questions concerning this over, how much money will this really be, will they really be sending out to people? How will they pay people? Does everyone have to pay or connect payment methods to this? But let's face it, it's just one more way for Snapchat to further monetize an audience that is, consuming a lot of video. So they are in a great position to compete against TikTok. But then the question becomes, how do you get them? How do you get ads in front of them? How do you get them to pay up? And this seems to be the latest way. So, yep, TikTok, it's really having strong influences. If you use social media at all, you're going to see Facebook move closer to TikTok. You're seeing Snapchat already moving closer to TikTok. Twitter is moving closer. all social media, and Instagram in particular, they're all moving closer to short video style format because it's just so lucrative. And it seems to be what people are attracted to. So give people what they want. People want TikTok. There you go. Okay, story number 2. And if you don't like it, well, yep, don't have to use Snapchat, but certainly something worth mentioning. Story number 3. Let's talk about this. This one is a bit silly. And let's see, do I have something for this? I actually do. If you've ever heard your TV make this sound, yeah, that's going to cost you. But if you remember the early days of like the Wii, people were taking those Wii nunchucks and they were throwing them at their TV, throwing them through their TV, and just cracking everything around them, people included. Well, looks like this coming out of the UK, VR-related claims increased by 31% in 2021. That's right, we're back in the early days of Wii all over again. And if there's ever a way to kind of measure an adoption of a new technology, I guess looking at insurance claims is as good a way of finding out as any other. Meta's Reality Labs VR division has yet to disclose how many headsets it's sold to date, but on Christmas Day 2021, the Oculus app hit the top of the App Store of the charts for the first time ever. So it seems like a lot of people got VR for the first time this Christmas, and since then, insurer Aviva said last year it saw a 31% increase in home content claims involving VR headsets and a 68% overall increase since 2016. That's right. And they said that the average claim for a VR-related accident was about $880, which turns out for some of the better VR systems, that's about what it costs for a VR system. Truly, the hidden cost of VR. And how many tennis elbows? Exactly. There's going to be a lot of personal injury with this as well. I mean, really, just go out there and look at videos. You can find people tripping over their dogs or, banging their shins on the coffee table. VR is such a unique setup because you need a wide open space. And let's face it, homes and buildings are just not really built for wide open spaces. So this is going to happen a lot. Less than a month and a half into 2022, Aviva has already had to process a number of VR-related claims, and the company expects more to come throughout the year. So, they said that the closest we have to a solid number is a third-party estimate by Qualcomm. At the time, he said Meta has shipped approximately 10 million units of the latest VR headset. They're going to keep that number under wraps because 10 million, I mean, think about it. Nintendo, I believe, just sold 100 million Nintendo Switches or something like that. And of course, PlayStation has sold, hundreds of millions of the PlayStation, and Xbox has even sold, I think, 100 million of their own. It's still a very small part of the console ecosystem, but, it's growing. And I think that's the important part, including in insurance claims. So now, this next story, we're going to try to get through it as fast as we can, but it's fairly big, and it mentions the Earn It Act gets no changes to encryption language in Senate committee. And by and large, what you have to know about it is that it was first introduced in 2020 to help with the they said it would remove legal liability immunity from tech platforms found in violation of federal or state laws regarding child sexual abuse material, or CSAM. In 2020, the Earn It Act sailed out of committee but failed to see the floor vote before the end of the 116th Congress. So they are reintroducing it, and I guess the big problem is that you have two sides that are oddly opposed, but it's hard to oppose either of them. The one side, the side that is for this, are the organizations for trafficked and abused minors, and for people who are sexually abused or human trafficking, and the Center for Lost and Missing Persons, places like that, places that you don't want to impede their work. If there are people who are in danger or who are actively being trafficked, it's hard to imagine a reason why you would want to oppose that. But on the other side of the aisle, you have a number of organizations, dozens and dozens of privacy-minded organizations that say that the method to which they're doing this would make those people trying to reunite people, it would definitely make law enforcement's job easier, but at the cost of encryption. And you could think back to just a couple of months ago where Apple tried to implement a technology that would maintain privacy, on people's phones, but still search their phones for known missing persons and known child pornography on people's phones. Oh my God, that received such a blowback, such bad press that Apple actually had to pull the feature entirely from its iOS 15 update. And now you have legislation here working its way through Congress that doesn't guarantee any encryption or privacy rights of the individuals, but still promises to scan or monitor all social media messages between individuals. Like, it's even less safe and less secure than what Apple was proposing, and it's still not receiving the pushback that it should have. And again, the problem that you have here is that when you say that you're against it, proponents would say, why are you for CSAM? Why are you for child pornography and people being human trafficked? And that's such a loaded question that, privacy it has a huge hurdle to kind of overtake. So clearly they're mentioning things about the language, and the bill, quote, gives the victims and survivors as well as state attorney general a day in court, access to our justice system so they can create an incentive for these companies to do the right thing. I think the bigger problem here is that this is looking to open the door for all 50 states of the United States to engage with, as they said, the judicial system, or I should say the justice system, by, instead of having 50 different codes of, child pornography, of sending illicit messages, for, encryption practices and that whole thing, instead of Facebook, Amazon, whatever tech company that happens to be out there, instead of them hiding behind particular, kind of state legislation, this would be an overarching attempt to legislate when someone should go to court over something like this. I don't think this will pass either, but it does kind of show that, there is ever this undercurrent for the government to undermine encryption for whatever reason, and they're going to use terms like terrorism, CSAM, think of the children, think of the horror that could happen, and it's hard to push back against that because those are legitimate concerns. But making everyone less safe doesn't seem to be the answer. I was talking about this earlier today during the live stream, twitch.tv/Computer America, that whenever large terrorist cells are discovered, whenever drug busts happen, whenever human trafficking is discovered, the way that they generally capture these people is not by breaking encryption. It's rather by someone stupidly sending a text, through phones that are not encrypted, just burner phones. It's usually by someone making contact and posing as a seller. It's a very human element that is usually the weakest spot, and weakening encryption, it's hard to imagine where that helps law enforcement more than just, paying attention or following, connecting the dots better. There are lots of weaknesses in these transactions, and encryption doesn't have to be the weakest link in all of that. So, yeah, we'll see how far this goes. I really do hope it doesn't get that way. I mean, the United States does need stronger laws on the books when it comes to social media networks and their responsibility when it comes to these types of things. Because, let's face it, Facebook is often cited as the #1 distributor of child pornography. There are issues, but it's not that Facebook itself is, it's just that that's where people are. People are going to share that material where they happen to be. So it's not that, and, it becomes a question of how much responsibility does Facebook have? What's the responsibility of the individual? It's a big head scratcher, and we need to come to some kind of agreement as to what is the end result. So we're going to go ahead and enforce the current laws first. Yeah, these things are already illegal, and the fact that they're still happening, more laws aren't going to solve the issue. I think more coherent and sensible laws and law reporting or reporting to law enforcement might be the better answer. This whole mess is, let's face it, there was a number of, right now FOIA comes to mind, but that's, Freedom of Information Act. But no, there were other acts with like FOSTA, which was a later incarnation of like SISTA or something like that, and now you have this one. Governments and law enforcement have been trying to weaken encryption since day one, and luckily tech companies are not really buying into it. So that's going to be better for everyone. Again, if these people need to be caught, there are dozens of ways that they can be caught. Weakening encryption helps no one but the bad guy. That is 100% the case. So, from that, let's go ahead and continue on here. Much shorter story. This one just entering beta, and you might be interested if you happen to be the 3 people that own a PlayStation 5 and not the people who are just looking to scalp PlayStation 5s. Well, Sony tests Hey PlayStation voice assistant on PlayStation 5. So just like you can do Hey Digital Assistant through so many other different services, well, looking like Hey PlayStation might be one. They're saying that the voice assistant is optional and the wake word can be deactivated from the settings menu, though Sony outlined how it hopes to gather information from voice command users to improve the final version. So clearly, like all digital assistants, they are constantly recording and training their algorithm to handle different languages, different accents, different terms, and just generally make it better because you need that data to make the AI better. Now, the beta test also includes changes to social media, to social platform and accessibility tools. On the text-to-speech front, Sony is adding a half dozen new languages as well. The additional languages include Russian, Arabic, Dutch, Brazilian, Portuguese, Polish, and Korean. Nearly half of the 15 languages and dialects available. There you go. Yeah. Clearly, early stages, just beta. We'll see what happens, but it seems like voice assistants. I have often said that, I'm not the biggest fan of voice assistants, but in terms of augmenting productivity, not replacing existing inputs, I think voice assistants have a great role to play in technology. They're not going to replace the keyboard and mouse. They're not going to replace the PlayStation controller, but hey, they could definitely benefit everyone through some form. Maybe not, volume up, but something a little bit more useful. And Sony agrees. So there you go. Now, we have 2 more stories, then we're going to get to the fun stories as well, but this one is a bit of less of a head scratcher and more like a, well, duh, but someone did the legwork from the BBC, and they have a number, and that's more than we've had in the past. This one, 74% of ransomware revenue goes to Russian-linked hackers. It's not a mystery that, we kind of say that Eastern Europe and Russia is a hotbed for criminal activity. It's not even so much, and there are cases where Russia in particular fosters, supports, enables these hackers to do their job and, steal from countries and sow dissent, all that kind of thing. It's not so much that as it is Russia seems very lax in patrolling, enforcing, and prosecuting people who do it on their soil or near their country. And they know that as long as they don't target Russians with their malware, Russia probably won't come after them. There you go. So, new analysis suggests that 74% of all money made through ransomware attacks in 2021 went to Russia-linked hackers. Researchers say that more than 400 million, worth of cryptocurrency payments went to groups highly likely to be affiliated with Russia. Russia has denied accusations. Oh, okay, so we all know now. Yep. Russia has denied accusations that it is harboring cyber criminals. Researchers also claim a huge amount of cryptocurrency-based money laundering goes through Russia crypto companies. There you go. So chain analysis, which I've actually been hearing more and more about them. Maybe I should get them on the show. Chain analysis or chain analysis. Sure. Which carried out the research, said it was able to follow the flow of money to and from digital wallets known hacking groups using public blockchain transaction records. And they mentioned that they have some of the findings, and that includes their ransomware code is written to prevent it from damaging files if it detects that the computer is located in Russia or a CIS country. The gang operates in Russian on Russian-speaking forums, and the gang is linked to Evil Corp, an alleged crime group wanted by the U.S., and this was even further linked to the fact that I actually recall this one. There was code found in this, there's code found in some of this malware that said if the default language was, if the default language on the computer was set to Russian, don't infect this computer with malware. Kind of leads you to believe that, for some reason they don't want to run afoul of the Russian law enforcement, and they're making great strides, or they're taking great effort to not piss off the people who are harboring them. Now, however, the report only looks at the flow of money to cybercriminal gang leaders, and many run affiliate operations. So it's not known when the individual hackers who work for the big games are from. So there you go. And the article goes a bit more into, recent arrests and how in Ukraine, I think there was a recent one with SIM swapping. Yeah. It's just, it's a cheap, effective way to make money. Not a surprise. So there's that one. And then one more as far as cryptocurrency and hacking goes. Check this one out. It's, HMRC, which I believe is like the UK tax authority. The Revenue and Customs. The reason why this story made headlines had more to do with the fact that, they seized NFTs. So it was a series of like 250 companies. They arrested 2 individuals. The long story is they were committing VAT fraud, which is value-added tax fraud. They were charging people to pay for the VAT and reselling the goods as no VAT paid. and they ran off with the money using 250 fake companies. Now, on top of the 1.4 million euro that they had seized, they also seized $7,000 in cryptocurrency and 3 unvalued NFTs. So it's not even like, they seized $1.4 million worth of NFTs as the headline would kind of imply. But the reason the story made headlines was more to the fact that law enforcement doesn't just go into a room now and just go, okay, we got all the cash, we can leave now. No, they're now seizing cryptocurrency and NFTs as evidence and ill-gotten gains. And that is a big difference as to what they used to be. So, yep, changing times. That's all there really is to it. So, let's see. Yep, I think that's just about... and by the way, these hackers, or not hackers, these fraudsters, I guess you could say, tried many ways to hide their identity, including false or stolen identities, false addresses, prepaid unregistered mobile phones, burner phones, virtual private networks, false invoices, and pretending to engage in legitimate business activities. Really, you don't get away with $1.4 million in fraud without having some kind of serious operation set up. And yeah, they caught them. So there you go. Now, that's about it as far as tech news goes, but I wanted to cover these 2 stories because it is Valentine's Day, do something a little bit special. And, well, this first one is for the loved one in your life who wants you to smell your best. And to some people, that's going to be the latest cologne or perfume from a department store, or that's going to be, just take a shower. But what about, we have something for this. Here we go. Now, what if your partner wants you to smell like potatoes? I know. When you think about the wonderful scent of fries, well, maybe this comes to mind. Yes, the Idaho Potato Commission announced it's celebrating Valentine's Day with the state's signature crop with a limited edition product, potato perfume. That's right, you might need a shower after you use this stuff. It's called Frites, and it looks great. They're saying that the IPC said the fragrance Frites by Idaho is made from distilled Idaho potatoes and essential oils and is designed to smell like a fresh plate of French fries. Whether you're at and this is again the salesman, quote, whether you're at a drive-thru restaurant or dining in, it's near impossible not to grab a fry and take a bite before you dive into your meal. The smell is too good to resist. The perfume is a great gift for anyone who can't refuse a French fry. So if you want your partner to take a bite out of you, well, sad news. It was sold out. The commission said that the $2 bottle of fragrance sold out quickly on the site, but there are still contests where you can win a free bottle yourself. So, yeah, that's fresh fried French fries perfume. Just when you thought you heard it all. Now, this last story has to do everything with Valentine's Day, and millions will celebrate Valentine's Day except in nations where it is banned or discouraged. I thought this would be a fun walkthrough. Then obviously in the United States in particular, I'm sure places in Europe also celebrates Valentine's Day. This has to do with in honor of Saint Valentine in Rome. There you go. A priest who was martyred in 269 and is said to have secretly married Roman soldiers and restored eyesight to his jailer's daughter and sent her a letter that was signed "Your Valentine" before he was executed. Aw, public execution. So cute. Now, throughout history, the holiday began in more singularly associated with themes of love and romance, including in Britain, where the holiday was connected to lovebirds of the spring. There you go. Now, countries that don't do it, and as to why, check this out. Malaysia. In Malaysia, where about 60% of the population is Muslim, it was actually banned in 2005. That's right. And that it has elements of Christianity. Could you imagine? They said that the council has also linked the holiday to abortion, consumption of alcohol, and other activities that it believes to invite moral decay. Truly, Valentines, abortion, drinking alcohol, boy, what a fun weekend that sounds like it could be. The ban, however, has persisted, and couples who celebrate can face penalties, including arrest. That's right, don't take your loved one on a date on Valentine's Day in Malaysia. Might get you into trouble. In 2011, the Middle Eastern Muslim country majority banned the production of all goods and gifts associated with Valentine's Day and outlawed the promotion of any day celebrating romantic love. I know what they say. Iran is for lovers. Turns out not to be the case. Who knew? They also mentioned on February 23rd is also known as the Persian Day of Love and honors Spendarmand, a Zoroastrian deity who represents a loving wife. That's what you can celebrate instead. So, a loving wife. It's what we all need. Uzbekistan does not celebrate this as well. And because the holiday is quote-unquote alien to our culture. Uzbekistan is a secular nation, but the majority of its citizens are Muslim. So there you go. Pakistan, India, and Indonesia are also two that do not and actually can get you in trouble for celebrating Valentine's Day. So if you enjoy the holiday, be thankful you don't live in one of those countries. On that note, everyone, we hope that you had a great day and you are, hopefully you had a great time spending time here with us at Computer America. Now, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to the Computer America show. Be sure to check in tomorrow. We should have more computer and technology news, headlines, and you know what? I actually really like these strange stories here at the end. Might throw more of those in as well. Everyone, ComputerAmerica.com, twitch.tv/ComputerAmerica, and at ComputerAmerica on all other social media. Everyone, thank you for tuning in. Have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.